Okay, this book is one, once you finish, you just sit there and wonder to yourself, what the fuck did I just quietly accept? Tender is the Flesh, I'm landing at a 4 out of 5 stars. It's brutal, it's controlled, and I think it's very intentional, but it's limited in some ways I think we need to discuss. The story takes place in a world where cannibalism is legalized and industrialized, and certain humans are reclassified, processed, and bred for consumption. All of this is under a rigid system of language, protocol, and regulation. And we follow Marcos, the main character, who works inside that system, and at first is deeply uncomfortable with it. So what works? The biggest strength of this book is language, and it's not only a theme here, but also a mechanism. Words like head, female, and special meat don't just describe the world, but they actively strip away personhood, and it's shocking how much you as a reader accept that language and reality. By the end of the book, you stop flinching at these words, and you stop translating it back to human, and it's almost like the book is proving its own point. The prose itself is nothing special, and it's emotionally detached. At first you think it's because the main character Marcos is grieving, but slowly you realize that it's because he's already part of the system itself, and it's just the system's language speaking to you. His voice, the language, and the world all start to blur together. And thematically, this book is very tight. It's about how atrocities can become normal through routine, how tenderness can exist within violent systems but not ever challenge them, and how discomfort and guilt doesn't automatically lead to resistance. For example, the main character Marcos feels conflicted, even regretful, but never enough to actually stop participating within these systems. And that book dives into that tension, and it is very intentional. This book also refuses catharsis. It doesn't give you a moment to unpack. It doesn't give you a moment to process, which I honestly respect, as the system just continues, which feels honest and brutal at the same time. And the main character works because he is somewhat of an anti-protagonist. He's difficult to inhabit. He's uncomfortable. You keep wanting him to be better than the world that he's in, and he shows you that he feels bad, but he never actually takes the steps to rebel against it. This book just shows you that feeling bad and doing the right thing are not the same thing. And this book never lets you confuse empathy with opposition. And this book is short and controlled, clean and concise, which really works for a book that's trying to stun you into submission. Now, what doesn't work? My biggest critique of this book is its limited emotional range. Marcos, the main character, remembers a time before the world was like this, before the transition. So in reality, a system like this would be filled with cracks. People breaking down, disassociating, acting unpredictably. But outside of a few moments, most characters feel emotionally flattened. You can argue that the lack of feeling is the point, and that may be true at some points. A lot of the characters do fulfill their roles as an emotional or structural facade. But that point does stretch the realism at points. I also think the allegory at times is too clean. Everything in this book lines up with real-world systems, so much so that it can kind of pull you out of the immersion and feel like you're being shown a model or demonstration rather than being sucked into a messy, lived-in world. I didn't mind this too much, as I thought that was the point of the book once I finished, but it does kind of pull you out of the immersion a bit. And again, characters beyond the main character Marcos feel more like structural or emotional facades rather than actually being deep, but they do their job to prove their point. Now, for the reading experience, I thought it was incredible how the book keeps escalating, but your reaction doesn't. Early on, you're horrified by what's happening, and then it continues and escalates somehow, and then you're only unsettled, and by the end, you're just kind of like, damn, okay. But that desensitization is the point of the book. The book doesn't just depict normalization of these brutalities and these atrocities. It normalizes it, and it makes you experience that. And when you read through these atrocities, some readers might pull away because of the sheer graphicness of them, but for me, it worked. If you're not able to go into this read objectively and read these kind of horrific things, I don't think you're going to walk away with the themes it's trying to push across. Now, who's this book for? If you're able to dive into some dark and graphic parts of human nature and pull away the themes of what it's trying to say from those graphic things, this book is absolutely for you. If you're into books like Never Let Me Go or Handmaid's Tale, or if you're into books that like to dive into structures rather than actually unpack things, this book is for you. Or if you're into books that don't let you feel morally clean or unpack anything for you and you have to do all that work after the fact, this book is absolutely for you. Tender is the Flesh, that's 4 out of 5 stars for me. It's disturbing because it's extreme, but also because it's efficient.